You know what my biggest flaw is? It's complacency. I mean, you can see it in my godforsaken upload schedule. I'm not consistent at all. And it's not because I don't love YouTube. It's because I'm too prideful. I get too proud of myself. And to put it short, I get complacent too easily. You probably do too. If you don't believe me, has this situation ever happened to you? For a couple days, maybe even a week or two, you're almost like a different person. Maybe you're studying every day, doing your homework consistently. Maybe you're working out, you haven't really ate sugar or went on a binge, right? You haven't really doom scrolled, haven't jacked off at all. Like you're living as like a monk, right? You're doing all the good habits, none of the bad. And you're doing the good habits consistently day in and day out, right? You're doing the deep work for long hours. You're just doing the things you need to do to reach your goals. And you start feeling good about yourself. You start feeling satisfied at where you're at, right? You're building that momentum and you're satisfied with that momentum. And then those urges come. Those urges of wanting to jack off or wanting to eat that piece of cake or wanting to scroll on your phone instead of doing the studying or deep work. That urge to go skip the gym, to hang out with your friends. And you see, usually the version of you, the higher self of you would fight these urges. But now you just welcome those urges with open arms and dive into them. And this domino effects, and now you're in a rut again. If that's ever happened to you, you, my friend, have a complacency problem, and it's time to fix it. Section 1, what is complacency? Much like any feeling in the world, there must be a root cause and things that trigger that feeling. For example, you get angry when you face log bait, or Mega Knight P.E.K.K.A boss bandit cycle, or happy when you finally get a girlfriend. Sad when that said girlfriend cheats on you with a guy that has 50 million power in Rise of Kingdoms. You get the idea, right? A feeling is a reaction to something. So what makes us react with complacency? The thing that makes us react with complacency is actually doing the right things. It's actually doing the deep work. It's actually, doing the workout, avoiding the bad habits, actually seeing progress in our goals. The reason why is because gaining that momentum and seeing that progress basically makes us feel prideful and gives us like a sense of satisfaction at where we're at right now. Think of it like this. Let's say you're a virgin. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. You probably are, right? Let's say you actually crack a baddie, right? Visualize the baddie that you want to crack, right? Like this is like a goal or something. Visualize the baddie that you want to crack. And let's say you had like an MVP caliber performance, like 2016 Curry, 2013 LeBron type shit. I guarantee you will gain an unfathomable amount of confidence and become so satisfied with yourself. You start to develop complacency and you start believing that you can pull any girl in the world. Any girl that you want, you can pull it just because of that. It's kind of like that when you start doing the good habits consistently and you start seeing momentum and progress. You gain that confidence and satisfaction with yourself, and this develops that feeling of complacency. You start feeling good and satisfied of the state you're in, and this satisfaction turns into complacency, and you start jacking off again, start skipping workouts, eating junk, and not doing the things you're supposed to do. And then what happens is you start feeling dissatisfied, and that dissatisfaction, it builds and builds and builds until you become motivated again, and then it repeats, and you're just stuck in that cycle. So knowing that, how do you stop being complacent? Well, you do it by stop being satisfied with yourself. I know that sounds toxic, but you can still be proud of the work that you do, but still not be satisfied with it, and still understand that there's more to be done in the grand scheme of things. So be proud of your work, but that doesn't garner an invitation for you to be satisfied with the work that you've done. It's like building a house. You can be proud of the bricks you laid, but that doesn't mean you're satisfied with the state of the house. Section 2, how to be satisfied. So we've established that feeling satisfied with ourselves is the root cause of our complacency. So now the obvious next question would be, how do we stop being satisfied? And in order to understand that, we must understand this. This is a graph. It kind of looks like a sine function. It's because in our life we fluctuate, right? We have days where we're on top of our shit, right? Days where we're kind of like average, right? We weren't in our avatar state. There's nothing to write home about. And then we have those days where we're cosplaying the day of a life of a Discord moderator. And we are obviously in the middle of this graph. right? It makes sense because the middle is the average and majority of your days will be average. But how your average is determined is actually by adding your highest and lowest days, then dividing by 2. You find your best days through looking at your routine. If you don't have a routine, I have plenty of videos that dive into the process. So if you haven't got one, check one of those out. But if you do, then you would know that your routine is your absolute best day, right? So just copy the actions you do in your routine, and that will just be your absolute best. Now for your absolute worst, we all know what our absolute worst days are. Once you have both your best and worst days, right? All I want you to do is add them up and divide by 2. And what this does is it will find your average days. So let's say doing 8 hours of deep work, reading 50 pages and going to the gym and hitting an amazing workout is like you at your absolute peak, your absolute best. And then you at your absolute worst, right? Doesn't do deep work at all, doesn't read, doesn't go to the gym, jacks off 6 to 7 times a day, right? Binging on snacks, binging on YouTube, literally doom scrolling for the whole day, bed rotting, right? This would be probably your absolute worst day, worst case scenario. And the average between these two would be 4 hours of deep work. Reason why is because 8 plus 0 divided by 2 is 4. 25 pages of a book, because again, 50 plus 0 divided by 2 is 25. Having a decent workout, because in the middle of having like a fucking Mr. Olympia level workout and just not working out at all would be like a decent to good workout, right? A workout where you'd be like, okay, I did something, right? I stimulated my muscles, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh damn, I really did something, like I really progressed in all these lists. And maybe you jack off once a day and binge Instagram for 2 to 3 hours. This would be like your average day. Nothing to write home about, but still better than a lot of people. So we see that our average day is just literally the accumulation of our best and worst days and then divided by 2. Now, when you have an average day, you don't really feel anything. It's regular. But every day you hit your absolute best day, you get 1 point of complacency. Every day you're at your lowest days, you get negative 1 point of complacency. And let's say when you reach 25 complacency points, you start to start falling off and justifying bad habits, right? That means every time you have a really, really good day, like you crush the day, you're actually getting closer to falling off. So how do we hijack the system? It's easy. Literally, this is literally all you have to do. Raise your expectations. Literally make what you consider your best day your worst day. Now, the point of this is not to consistently reach this day. The point of this is to allow yourself not to get complacent. Because imagine if doing 8 hours of deep work, reading 50 pages, meditating for 10 minutes, studying and doing all of that, having the perfect workout is considered one of your worst days. That's genuinely a perfect day. But if we consider it as our worst, we will never accumulate those complacency points to fall off. Every successful person has high expectations. Every successful person isn't satisfied. They always strive for more. Yes, successful people can be proud of the hard work and success that they have accumulated, but they will never be satisfied. And if they are, guess what? They fall off. So literally the blueprint of your problem is to increase your expectations through switching what you view as your best day to your worst day. You'll just be accumulating complacency debt, and you have like negative 1,000 complacency points, right? And that's actually good, because the less complacent you are, the more focused you are, and the more work that you do, the harder you work. And what that would do is that would just get you closer to your goals, because now you're not stopping and starting, right? Because when you stop and start, you're making progress, but then you just dip down. You're making progress, you're just dipping down, right? But if you're having that consistency, that consistent intensity, you'll just reach the peak of the mountain so easily. You just achieve your goals so easily, right? Consistency is more important than intensity. Why do you think there's people that will freak out if they lose their abs and people that don't care if they're 600 pounds? It's simply because the person with abs has a higher expectation for themselves than a person that's 600 pounds. The main difference between a millionaire and a homeless person is the expectations, right? The things that they expect from themselves. So simply expect more from yourself and you will become more. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't be proud of the work that you do, right? You can still be proud of the work, right? You can still be like, oh, I really did that, right? I really did do that workout. I really crushed that workout. I really, did that 4 hours of deep work. I really did what I had to do. But you still have in the back of your mind that there's still more to do, right? This is just the beginning, right? This isn't the end, right? There's so much more things that you have to do, so much more things you have to conquer in your life, right? And just this day isn't like, something to be, all satisfied and proud about. So that's basically it. Just expect more from yourself. And then you'll just stop being more complacent, because since your expectations are so high, you'll never get the chance to be complacent. Well, that's all I have for you for today. Wish you luck on your journey. Peace.